Circular, senior officials of the bank, and my dear colleagues past and present. As rightly said, first of all, I would like to thank the leaders of the SCSG Association for having given a thought to welcome me and our association members for this function. Why I am saying that is, these days, once you retire, people forget you. Though the bank has given guidelines that retirees should be involved in all occasions and functions. I would recall just about 2 days back, the bank had celebrated the Foundation Day. Virtually most of the circles all over India had celebrated this function very grandly. They had special, things to be done on that day, and they had invited the retirees also, besides honoring the senior-most retiree in the circle. Anyway, my purpose of saying that is, the main reason why we are meeting today is not completing a formality. It is to recall the contribution done by one of our senior and intellectual Indian of our country, that we must follow his path. And it is because of that today the government has declared it as a holiday. The government has not declared it as a holiday for you to go and do the shopping. Okay, is what you said. The government has declared it as a holiday so that you assemble like this and you spread this message of whatever he had taught. Because this is very important. As what our circle head has been stressing, education. This man, this personality stood for education. He was a jurist. He was an economist. I think he had so many degrees behind him, which you cannot imagine. I mean, anybody could have. It would require 2 sentences to write all the degrees. But then I read somewhere that he was a person, when he passed, because those days education was something which was not thought of by anybody. So when he had passed 4th standard, I think that itself was considered as a very big thing done by him, very big achievement. And above all, he belonged to the lower caste. So having experienced all these things, he studied, he thought of implementing it and ensuring that you get your education and you do not have any inequality. All are treated, because ultimately you are all humans. Okay. So he had decided, he wanted to ensure that equality is given. And as what we were talking about, women empowerment. Today everyone is, talking, it is part of the election speech also. Most of the politicians saying that women empowerment, women empowerment. But who was the person who actually started it? It was a bill passed in 1950 by Ambedkar for women empowerment and bringing equality of women to the men. Otherwise, I think most of the North Indians, you must be knowing that parda you will be having and whatnot. All that has been removed. Plus, giving equality for employment and education and all that, he has been struggling for that. Today, I am really surprised that I don't find anyone from the circle office over here. Majority, I think, are coming from the branches, because I don't find much of the faces excepting for our Rabindra Das and a few others. But why the circle office staff is not there? I remember we used to organize the same things. We used to make it compulsory for all the incumbents at charge to come for this occasion. Not only that,
once to happen, Suresh sir, but what?
Let me finish. You can comment after.
They could not send the email.
Whatever it is, today you have got a lot of means of communication. Those days we never had. We only had the landline. Today nobody lifts the landline itself. Forget about the mobile phone. Okay. So now what I am saying is, you have got all the facilities of communication, and the importance, the reason, what I am trying to stress upon is, the purpose of the holiday declared today is not for anything else but to pass on this information to the present generation. In fact, the generation which is standing right now, I don't think is the present generation also. I think they are middle age group. The younger generation has not bothered to come because this message is supposed to go to them. They are supposed to understand these things and know what it was during those days so that it is taken forward. In fact, I noted down certain points, so I would, if you'll excuse me, because, we do not remember everything. थोड़ा अभी उम्र भी बढ़ रहा है, but still, what about a change in the working hours? You are all, association people are fighting that we should have 5-day leave. But you know who was the person who brought it for 8 hours? What was the original? It was 14 hours. He brought it down from 14 hours to 8 hours. The Columbia University uses his autobiography as a textbook. What are we doing? And then, as I told you, his first effort towards women empowerment was made by him through the Hindu Code Bill in 1950. Majority were not born, including myself. Then, you got the Indian flag. The Ashok Chakra was brought by him in the Indian flag. And he was the first person at that time from the untouchables to have completed a matriculation. What is a matriculation today? But imagine what it was that time. He was the first person in that community for having got that. And then I will read out some more important quotes of his. I measure the progress of a community by the degree of progress which women have achieved. So unless you give that empowerment to the women, only then your achievement is there. I like the religion that teaches liberty, equality and fraternity. Be educated, be organized and be agitated. I am proud of my country for having a constitution that enshrines principles of democracy, socialism and secularism. And though he was heading the constitution committee which was forming the constitution, it was all handwritten. It was not your computer cut paste and all that. It was all handwritten. And that constitution is adopted till today. And it was the basis of your Reserve Bank of India, on the basis of which Reserve Bank of India was formed. So with these few words, my friends, I request you to spread this message and follow the ideologies of this great personality we had. I think I will fail in my duty to tell you that my father also during his time was a very great personality. But we used to remember how we used to face for this education. By great difficulty, he went to London. He completed his PhD and he was a student of Sir C.V. Raman. So, knowing how my father had suffered, I know how much he would have suffered during his time. So, those days it was not so easy. In fact, he had to change his name also, to avoid any kind of conflicts. So anyway, with these few words, I would once again request that staff should participate in all such programs, and you can have some small function also. The idea is, this is a forum where you can even do your marketing and tell some important issues of what the bank is doing. This is just an advice given by me. Kindly don't take it to heart. So thanks a lot.